next thing I have to fix from last weekend's carnage was the rear drive shaft. The U-joint that I have at the pinion side is making a hell of a squeaking sound, and it looks like I'm missing part of it. It's still intact. I was able to drive it home. Made a pretty good racket. Driveline vibration actually wasn't terrible, but I had to get it home. So I'm going to drop the drive shaft. I have a brand new U-joint for the rear, and we'll see what happens. So we're going to go ahead and start back here at the transfer case. I got 4 8mm bolts to come out, and may not be able to get this. May not be able to get it kind of how it sits. I might have to jack up the rear end and spin. I'm also, before I drop this, I'm going to index how it goes on, because right now I got good balance. I don't want to mess it up, so I'm just going to mark it on and put it back the exact same way it came out. Of course, when you put it in neutral, can't always. Now the fun task of taking off the rear. So what I might do is I actually have some U-bolts. It looks like this might have already been drilled out, at least to some degree. I have to check how bad it was, but I might just bore this thing out and just go U-bolts in the rear, just to kind of give myself a little bit of more strength back here. The cap that was stuck in the yoke. Now it had a couple needle bearings still left in it, but this thing is dry as can be. Yeah, this U-joint did not have long life left to it, if any. So that's that. But then this thing is this U-joint's toast. I don't know if I bent it or whatever, but I know I hit it on a rock pretty hard. Under throttle, trying to get up a big hill. I even heard it like smacking on the rocks a couple times. But yeah, this thing, it has no movement, and so this cap shockingly still moves. Let's see what the needles look like. Okay, it don't look terrible, but its friend over here is gone, and I think its 2 neighbors here are not going to make it. So I got a non-greasable spicer unit that I'm going to put in here. The U-joint, I went and used Spicer 5-1310X. I typically like to use Spicer on axles, and that includes gaskets and seals, as well as ball joints and U-joints. They seem to hold up a little bit better, and right now I think they're slightly better than Moog. Obviously it's just personal preference. I'm going to get this retaining clip out. Sometimes you can get lucky with just a pair of needle nose. Let's find out. Yep, nice. Now, if you want to get stubborn on you, you can use a flathead and just walk it out. Okay. race. Okay, so now we got the retaining clips out. Now is the point of we got to press this thing out. There's a couple different ways you can do this. You can use, I did it on the floor of my garage with a block of wood. I've used a vise, and I also have access to a press, which is what I'm going to do. If you have a press, it makes it super easy. Vise is a little bit harder, but it's not so bad. Or you could do it like on a block of wood or on a rock on a trail, which I've done. Not ideal. It can be done. It's a fight, but it's still doable. So I'm just going to set up a press it out, put the new one in, press that in, and be done with it. So no struggling. So now I'm just going to clean out the race here with a little bit of light grit paper here, just to kind of clean it up. I'm also going to grab a pick and clean out the little cutout for the retaining ring as well. So I'll just kind of run the pick around the inside, just to make sure that's nice and smooth and that's not gunked up with any type of rust or debris, and we should be good. What I used to press the U-joint out, I used a 3/4 inch socket, a short drive, and then to catch it on the other side was a 32 mil. You don't necessarily have to use those, it's just what I used. The 3/4 is pretty close to the head of 1310 U-joint that I'm using. So worked pretty well, and that's what I'm going to use to put the U-joint back in. So I went ahead and the two caps that I'm not pressing in, I taped so they don't go flying off. And you want to go ahead, take off your current caps, gently push them in on either side. Okay. So what I like to do is put in the retaining ring, and if you can see there's a little gap between the retaining ring and the cap. So what I'm going to do is take it back over to the press, flip it over, and push the U-joint back and snug it up against this this clip. You don't want to press too hard, you don't want to put too much pressure on this, you just want to snug it up too to give you enough space to lock in the clip on the opposite side. I had originally planned on drilling these out to, I believe, 5/16 and using U-bolts instead of straps. However, I believe the previous owner did it and then did not do it correctly. These have been bored out a little bit. I'm not too thrilled with it, but the bolts, the U-bolts that I want to use, are too wide for this. I got to do a little bit more research in that. That's kind of weird. I mean, I could probably clamp them together a little bit, but I don't really feel that that's a good idea right now. So I'm just going to go what I know works, which is the factory straps. They held pretty well so far. So I might end up having to get a new yoke. Who knows? But I know that the factory stuff does work right now, or the straps that are on there, so I'm going to go ahead and just use those. So what I'm going to do now is prep, just get this up in there. Okay. There we go. Now that the installs are all set, I'm gonna go ahead, take a test drive, make sure everything's good, and then call it a day. Iced coffee time. But before I go, just please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave those down below, and I'll get back to you.